Hi, this is Linda Paul-Sontag. Is fear standing in your way of becoming an artist? Fear is a distressing emotion, often caused by a valid impending danger, but it can often be an irrational feeling based on our insecurities. What is the result of that kind of fear? Paralysis, or simply doing nothing instead of facing our fears. Let's talk about how you can overcome your fears. Hello and welcome. This is Linda Paul-Sontag, and I want to talk to you about fear. We all have it. Oh boy, I just can't even express to you how much I suffer from fear myself. Even doing these videos, I've been thinking, well, what do I know? Who am I? What makes me think that I can provide any form of advice to anybody? So it's not unusual to feel fear about getting started with something new. And certainly if you're a new artist, some of the hardest things are just to get started because maybe you feel like, well, I'm really not good enough. I'm not skilled enough. So why should I do it at all? I learned a couple of really good tips many years ago. And one of those tips was that everybody has this kind of inner feeling that in some way they're an imposter. This actually has a psychological basis to it. It's called imposter syndrome. Many years ago, I was at a women's conference, and the keynote speaker at the luncheon that day was a very well-known psychologist. She was on the radio. It wasn't Laura Schlesinger. It was a woman called Irene Casorla, as a matter of fact. Um, and she said about this very thing that she had Fortune 500 CEOs in her office that literally broke down sobbing because they were convinced that they weren't good enough and that someday somebody was going to figure out that they were not what they were cracked up to be. So that has become something that I have literally taken to heart and lived by. And understanding that goes a long way towards building some confidence, in fact, that you're not the only one who may fear that you're not good enough to get started with something new. Another thing that I learned that has stuck with me over all the years is in high school, I couldn't do oral reports because I was so scared that I literally could not speak. So having to take a speech class was the last thing on my curriculum to finish in order to get my AA degree, which I got in art. I thought, why do I need this to get an associate's degree in art? But it wasn't it was a requirement, so I had to do it, and I left it to the very last class, along with political science, which also I saved to the very end and found very interesting, ironically. But this speech teacher was amazing. And one thing she said very early in the class, because of so much fear about speaking in front of a group, she said, remember, you're not so important that people are going to go to bed tonight laughing about you and getting up tomorrow morning laughing about you. Again, that's something that I took to heart and eventually was really able to overcome this fear of speaking and ended up in a career in my real world life that required very often getting in front of large groups of people and having to speak about projects that I was working on. So my art career started at a late date, even though art was always a part of my life, I periodically would pick up a pencil or a paintbrush and do a little work. But it wasn't really until I could find the time and not be distracted about what was going on in my work life that I was able to tackle painting again. And like everybody else, I was kind of scared to get started. So, one of the best things I did was I joined a local group of other artists. I found them on a Facebook page. I just took the chance. It turned out that the group met on a regular basis and it wasn't very far from me. So I joined that group. I brought a few samples of my work and I got so much encouragement. It was literally life changing. And that encouragement was what gave me the impetus to get really started on my work. So having done that and joining that group with going around, going to galleries, exposing myself more and more to art encouraged me even further. I ended up joining a local art league and getting involved with some of the activities going on in that league. That also exposed me to more, gave me more encouragement, and allowed me to start producing more. Also, it's a good idea to maybe get some books out of the library, subscribe to a magazine. I tend to do a lot of work that's related to Southwest art. So I subscribe to Southwest Art Magazine. You look through some of those magazines, and sometimes you see successful artists who maybe even aren't as technically skilled as you. Another very important thing is start being prolific in your work. Start with just trying to work a little bit every day, producing things that they're not going to be masterpieces, but it's much like an author. They write and they write a draft, they edit that draft, they edit it again. Books just aren't written overnight. And so similarly to painting, if you just practice, you're going to gain more confidence. The thought or the idea that every piece of work you produce has to be ideal or a masterpiece, let go of that, because maybe 1 out of 5 is going to be something you like. And schedule time. Schedule time every day or once a week or whatever works for you to do something art related. So these little things are going to help you gain confidence. And as you gain confidence, you're going to overcome fear. Don't feel like you're the only person in the world that feels that way. I'm just now starting these videos and starting to post things. I'm literally scared to death. I am convinced that I'm going to do a lousy job, that nobody's going to like it, and oh well, here I am, overcoming my fear just to be able to offer some quick tips for new artists. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it helps. Stick with me for future quick tips, and like and subscribe if you found this helpful. Thank you.